Hey everyone. If you saw my last video, you know that I did a drive to Cape Flattery, and that drive was just absolutely treacherous. The roads into the Cape area were paved asphalt, but in a lot of places, the asphalt looked like it was literally sliding off the roadbed into the ocean, especially where you crossed over little creeks and stuff. The road was sinking, and then you throw the thick fog on top of that as I'm driving along the coast. It was white knuckle pretty much the whole way. I was doing maybe 20 miles an hour max because of the fog and the roads. But then after doing the hike, I had to drive the same roads back out. Rather than trying to find a campsite to camp at, I needed to get off the road and get a hot shower and stuff. So I ended up getting this hotel room here in Sequim. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but it's how it's spelled. So after checking in here last night, decided to walk just up the street to the local brewery. Imagine that. It was called Bar Hop, and they had really good pizza. So I got a pizza and then a couple pints, and then walked back to the hotel and just crashed. But this morning, I just got back from walking the other direction down the street to a local diner. So that diner it was a 1950s, 60s themed diner. So it was full of, neon lights, memorabilia, leather seats, the checker tile floor, and all that kind of stuff that you think of from a 50s era diner. I got biscuits and gravy and some eggs, and then unlimited coffee. It was fantastic, and I think I only paid like $12, $15 after tip maybe. So something interesting I learned about Sequim while chatting with some folks at the brewery is they are known as the lavender capital of North America. The city lies within a rain shadow of the Olympic Mountains and receives less than 16 inches of rain a year. And that's on par with what like Los Angeles gets. But fogs and the cool breezes off the ocean make Sequim's climate perfect for the cultivation of lavender. So in Sequim, like everything is lavender themed. A lot of the businesses have lavender bushes out front in their landscaping. Even the diner had lavender lemonade and lavender milkshake. I don't know what lavender tastes like, but it doesn't exactly sound appetizing. I probably should have tried it, I guess. So now I'm ready to hit the road again and go to my next destination. This is the bluff overlooking Port Townsend. To give you an overview of where this is, here is Seattle. And then across the Puget Sound, up in the very top corner here is Port Townsend. And then to give you a kind of general overview, let me zoom in here a little bit. And this is Sequim, where I spent the night. And then in the morning, I drove over this route up to Port Townsend to catch the ferry. Now, to go back and to kind of show you where I was in my last video and the route I had to take, let me zoom back out here. I had spent the night along this stretch of coast, which is Claylock Beach, and visited the beach early in the morning, then drove all the way up through Forks, and then over to Clallam Bay, and then over again to Cape Flattery, way over here. And this little island here is where the lighthouse was. Then after the hike, I had to drive back through that same area and drove all the way along the coast to get to Sequim. It was a long and stressful drive, which is why I chose to get a motel for the night, so I could get a shower, a good night's sleep, before continuing on. This is the bluff overlooking Port Townsend, Washington, and that's the boat I'll be taking in the morning. For once, I planned ahead and checked the Department of Transportation website for times and prices for the ferry to Coupeville, which is just across the sound. Luckily I did, because I found out that not only did I need a ticket for myself and the Jeep, but I also needed to purchase and make a reservation for a specific sailing time. I made my reservation for 6:30 a.m., which is the first sailing of the day, I also checked the Port Townsend website for information about public parking, which listed places to park overnight for free, specifically mentioning this spot in relation to early morning ferry departures. I also found out that Port Townsend has a historic downtown district on the waterfront with shops and bars and restaurants that I thought would be fun to explore for the day. At this point, I was getting pretty hungry, and I decided to stop in at a place called Tommy Knockers. And how could you go wrong with a place that's voted best restaurant in Jefferson County? I also like the fact that they're soccer fans, and they had a bunch of supporter scarves hanging up around the restaurant. But when I ordered a Reuben, I didn't realize I was getting a Reuben calzone. That was definitely not a good combination. I ate everything, but I definitely would have tried something else if I could do it again. After lunch, I decided to go down to the waterfront and just enjoy the sights and sounds of the ocean for a while. After wandering around and hanging out near the water for several hours, I was getting hungry and decided I wanted to get some good seafood. Sirens had good reviews and the menu looked delicious. I got a small salad and crab cakes, and of course a couple beers. After dinner, I again wandered the streets that were now much more empty as I made my way back up to the bluff where my Jeep was parked and where I'd be spending the night. This morning, I'm about to board the ferry to go across the sound and continue exploring further east in Washington. This is the first time I've ever taken a ferry this size before. I've done little tiny ferries like in Louisiana, but this is a first for me. So I am queued up, lane 4. I have to distribute the weight evenly, so all the big RVs and stuff are over here, and then 4, it looks like 4 and 2, no, that's lane 7. So anyway, the small passenger cars are in there. All right, here we go, getting loaded on. So you can see that they're loading the shorter vehicles on into the left lane there because they have to fit under that overhang up above that lane. Well guys, that's going to do it for this week's video. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing and hit that like button while you're at it. It really helps out my channel. Thanks for following along, and I'll see you on the next one.